Hello, Pacific League fans and fans-to-be. I'm Jimbo Bernicky, the newest member of the Pacific League team, and welcome to this year's edition of Making the Pitch. I interviewed some of the most die-hard fans of the Anglosphere from each of the Pacific League franchises and spoke with them about their experiences as fans in the world of Japanese baseball, all in an effort to help convince you to join their side. Welcome to Making the Pitch 2023. Today is a very special edition of our series, as I will be speaking with not one, but two big-time Chiba Lotte Marine fans. One is Steve Novosel, an American living in Chiba who is one of the most legendary fanatic supporters of Japanese baseball in the Anglosphere, and my colleague Michael Bilyj, who you may know from other highlight videos and live coverage here on PLTV. Furthermore, it's no great secret that I myself am a fervent Marines fan, and today's video is much more of a fun, laid-back roundtable discussion about our experiences as fans of the Chiba side than our usual interviews. I hope you enjoy.
Steve, what did you think of last season for the Marines?
Not a whole lot of positive, to be honest. I was highly disappointed. I thought we were going to make a pretty good run at actually winning the league last year, and the offense just didn't show up for whatever reason. So I realized it was a chronic problem throughout the league, especially early in the season. But the two guys that we were most relying on to provide some offense, being Brandon Laird and Leonis Martin, just didn't provide anything all season. So kind of hard to win in a very competitive Pacific League when you can't score any runs or get any hits. Not surprising that Iguchi was fired after last year. A lot of fans were calling it for the entire season after the bad start. Expectations were pretty high, but the elements are still all there. That's the annoying part about last season is I don't think there's anything markedly different in the makeup of the team last year versus the team that almost won the league in 2021. Just didn't go anywhere last year.
Yeah, no, it seems like they have all the right tools, but yeah, last season there was a really consistent theme of great pitching and then just the hitting not living up to the hype. What about you, Mike? What were your feelings about the season?
Pretty much the same thing. I've been a fan since 2018, so that's what, three non-playoff seasons. So I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah. And so that being said, what was your favorite moment from last season, Mike?
The perfect game. I think it's going to be pretty much any Marines fan favorite moment is going to be the perfect game.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's probably my favorite baseball moment of all time. Certainly my favorite that I've ever been to.
You were there? Were you there live for it?
Oh, I only missed I think 4 home games last year. So yeah.
Wow.
I'm actually pretty sure I hit 100 games total across all leagues last year. So yeah. But I'm going to throw something out there that I think went way under the radar for people here, because everybody knows about Roki's perfect game there, but. Yamaguchi had his breakout game in Osaka last year. I believe it was in September. When he had the 3 home run game and 8 RBI game in Osaka. And that was just fantastic, because this is a guy that's us Lotte fans that have been following him since 2021 and thinking, well, this guy's got a lot of potential here. He just needs playing time. And it was frustrating to see Iguchi, put him on the bench a lot or move him around the lineup a lot and not really give him a whole lot of chance to hit. He only got 250, I think, at bats last year. And then finally he started playing more consistently late in the season, and he breaks out with a record-breaking performance there for Lotte. And it's I think really good omen for things to come for him. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that is actually it's another pretty good moment next to Saki's perfect game. So Steve, how did you become a fan of the Marines?
First time, as I mentioned earlier, the first time I went to a game was in 2003 at it was Kyocera Dome at the time, and it was called Osaka Dome at the time, not Kyocera Dome, and I didn't have any rooting interest or even know anything about the teams at that time, and I was sitting in the infield on a weekday and with me and a friend of mine, and there was a guy sitting behind us that kept talking to me and trying to teach me a bit about, here's what the shearing's going on here, here's the players, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, this team's actually super, super weak. We've always been terrible. And I'm like, what? But these fans are so loud. We're a road game here, and it's super loud fans against on a team that's quite weak. And I'm like, that's very interesting. He's like, yeah, we're famous for being loud. I'm like, oh, cool. So he invited me to a game in Tokyo the week after, and introduced me to a couple of the players, actually, because he knew some of the foreign players. And so I met Derek May and Rick Short and people like that when I was at the game. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And there was another road game there at Tokyo Dome, and these fans are still so loud. And I'm like, wow, when I start following baseball more closely, I want to be out there with those guys. I want to be yelling with them, because baseball's fun, but baseball's more fun when you're jumping up and down with your friends and yelling. So once I started living in Japan and had a good opportunity to start going to games, and that's had to go to Chiba. I had to be one of those fans jumping up and down and screaming in the outfield. So that's where I moved.
And that's awesome. Now I I really want to head over to Japan and try that myself. And Mike, same question to you. How did you become a fan of the Marines?
Mine's a bit of a long-winded one. I was studying Japanese online in 2018, and I was using an app where like it just puts down like what language you know and like what language somebody else knows, and it like pairs you up. And it's like, you teach each other and you become friends. So I became friends with somebody from Chiba, and it got to the point where we were mailing each other packages. Like they'd send me Japanese snacks, I'd send them, American snacks. So at one point, I was with my dad, and we were going to send another package out, and he wanted to know if they had, like, Japan had any baseball cards. And my friend didn't know, and I didn't know. Of course, now I know, and I have stuff going back to the 20s. But they went and they couldn't find any, but they sent me. They said they were going to send me a yearbook from a used bookstore for their local team. So I get the yearbook in the mail, and it's the Chiba Lotte Marines 2010 yearbook.
Oh, nice.
And it's talking about who was it, Bobby Valentine, all the big. That was the year they won the Japan series, I believe. The last one before that was 2005.
Yep. Yeah, 2005 and 2010. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at the 2010 one. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'm looking up videos of them, and I'm seeing like the fans jumping up and down. I'm reading like the Wikipedia page and just learning about them. And then a couple months go by, and I was bored, and I'm like, does Japan have any like baseball video games? Like, found that they do. The newest one at that time was from 2015, so I imported it, and I was playing like franchise mode, and I was like, oh, pick your team. So I was like, well, my friends are all in Chiba, so I'll pick the Marines, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I like that. Like a weird little roundabout way to get there. Mike, who would you say is your favorite player on the team?
Oh, currently I would say it's Sasaki, but that's probably every fan right now.
Yeah, I mean it is sort of the default answer, but no, I mean it's entirely valid. He is awesome to say the least.
It has changed year to year. 2018, the first game I saw was Mike Bolsinger was pitching, and I think he'd gotten like his 10th straight win, and it was like a record for or like tied a record for a foreign player. But like it was really cool to see that. And then for a while it was Shogo Nakamura, and then now it's pretty much cemented as Sasaki.
Yeah, Sasaki really is like every outing he has is like must watch television. Like it's
If he
like,
can have a bad game and it won't lower my opinion at all. Like
no, for sure. It's
he
just
give
so
up
fun to
100
watch
runs, and I'd still buy another jersey.
And so Steve, who would you say is your favorite player on the Marines?
It's not going to surprise anybody to who knows me to hear this, but Takashi Ogino, of course. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I remember when I was watching the Marines before I heard last year's video, and I saw him, and I was like, man, I like this guy a lot. And then I heard the video, I was like, yep, all right, we're on the same wavelength there.
Yeah, he just anybody who was watching him when he was a rookie in 2010 is pretty much got the same opinion of him, I think, because he showed up in 46 games there with 24 steals and 25 attempts, and was batting like 346, and just insane. Way to enter the league on that. And of course he's been injured most of his career since then, but he's just the perfect type of player for me.
He almost reminds me of like I don't know how to say this without it sounding like a backhanded compliment in either direction, but like he's like a very, very poor man's Ichiro Suzuki. Like it's that same sort of gritty slap player trying to like make as much contact as he can, run out every ball. And of course, because of the injuries, he only came on later in his career. But like he's had that same sort of style, I think.
Yeah, sure.
That a lot of people, that Ichiro drew a lot of people in with, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's any insult whatsoever on that, man. I think that's a pretty accurate observation for him.
And for me personally, my favorite players, sort of other than those two, those are also sort of my 1A, 1B. I have a little 1C. So first baseman, Seiya Inoue. I love like he's just got such like a again, it's I'm trying to say without sounding sort of mean, but when he swings the bat, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like spinning around and trying to hit it. But when he makes
he
contact,
looks like a construction worker or something swinging a 2x4,
Yeah, exactly. He's just like trying to mash it, but when he hits it, man, he gets it out of the park. And his home run celebration when he gets back to the dugout and does the sumo thing, it's fantastic. Yeah, he's my favorite player other than those two. I find the Marines among all the Pacific Leagues teams, they just have so much personality. Like all the
Yeah.
players just have such a vibrant sort of like charismatic vibe about them, and that's why I like the team. It's just got such so much more character than the others I find.
That
I don't know if
first year I was watching in 2018, I started following the Marines on Twitter and like on Instagram and everything. And I think that was the year Inoue was the only player to get double-digit home runs
Yeah.
on the team. And every other post was like, here's Inoue eating a big bowl of ramen. Here's Inoue eating sushi. Here's Inoue at a buffet. It was just all Inoue eating stuff. It was just so like funny to see because the dude just did not care. He would just go out, hit 2 home runs, go to a sushi restaurant, show up the next day and just repeat. And like you would scroll down and everything was just Inoue at a restaurant. Inoue hits a home run. Inoue's at a different restaurant.
And he's surprisingly defensively competent, I find. He's a solid first baseman. It's just he strikes out a lot too, but man, it's fun watching him bat. I find it such a almost like a comedy of errors in a way.
In my line chat group, every time he makes a good play at first, we always talk about his cat-like reflexes. So we just have a hashtag cat-like on there every time he makes a play.
The first Marines game I watched with my dad, Inoue hit a double, and for some reason he tried to make it a triple. Even the fastest player was not getting a triple.
I don't know why that's
so
funny.
he didn't get close, and he got thrown out. And I remember seeing Iguchi's face; like he had his hands up, like, "What are you doing?"
He almost hit for the cycle.
When was that?
I want to say it might have been 2018.
It almost makes me wonder: is that the same game? And that's why he was going for the triple.
No. He got the triple. Triple. That was the thing. I think it was the first hit he got was the triple on that there. And at the time, I was like, Jesus, he's got to get the cycle now because he's never hitting another triple in his career. And he crushed a home run. He got the single. It comes up to his last at bat, and he just absolutely belts one, and it goes right over the center field fence. And we're all like going, no! I've never been more disappointed in a home run in my life. It's like, just hit it off the top of the fence, man. Stop at second.
You should be allowed to be like, look, can I take 2? I'll take 2 bases. Give me 2 next time. How about that? We'll do a little trade.
Kind of funny, actually, because him and Despine, when he was first year with Lotte there, his first hit was actually a triple, too. And I don't think he's ever hit another one in his career.
I'll have to see that.
So for Steve, what are your predictions for this season for the Marines?
I'm going to remain optimistic for this year. I know a lot of people are talking about, the Hawks signed so many players, they're going to run away with it there. Rakuten's so good, Oryx is going to be good, and these things are true. I mean, they're good teams, but I still think that the elements are all there for Lotte. I like the young guys coming up. I think Yamaguchi is going to be a complete star. I think he's going to break the record for Japanese player at Zozoma for home runs. Unquestionable that he's going to do that, unless he gets injured or something. He may challenge the foreign player record at Zozoma too. He's got that kind of skill. The pitching is there. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of arms. We don't even know where to fit them into the rotation in the bullpen. We've got young players like Yasuda. Takabe was an all-star last year. Matsukawa's only 19. He was an all-star last year. A bunch of young guys up and coming. I think the team is on the verge of great things. I like what they did in the offseason. I like that they signed guys that like Mercedes and Polanco that have experience in Japan. It's a smartly put together team, and I think as long as the injuries don't come, they're going to contend this year.
All right, fair enough. And you, Mike, what do you think about? What are your predictions for the Marines this year?
I'm kind of expecting more of the same, but that's just because how I am as a sports fan at this point. You expect, just whatever, and then you get surprised when, it turns out not being that way. I am kind of shocked that they got all new foreign players this year. It's all new foreign players, I think, right?
It's all new.
Yeah.
Like they got rid of, it's kind of just like a weird feeling because I've only been a fan since 2018. So all the players we've had, they've kind of had since I started watching. Like Brandon Laird's pretty much been a permanent resident. Now he's gone. Echeverria was here for what, 2 or 3 seasons? 2 seasons?
Yeah, came in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised Enny Romero's gone. I liked him. So I'm just kind of excited to see what like all the new imports are going to do. And I do hope that they're going to be able to get back into A class or win the league. And of course, I'm going to see every Sasaki and Matsukawa start. So
yeah, for sure. For me, I think sort of like Steve was saying, they have all the right pieces in place. And if the bats can just come a little more alive, they'll be great. I just sort of think there's like a weird sort of setting in the Pacific League right now where the Hawks and the Buffaloes are top of the class. Like they're sort of tier 1 above everyone else. And I feel like the Fighters and the Eagles are a bit sort of kind of a little more middling, lower tier. And so the Marines and Lions, I think, are going to kind of fight it out for that third playoff spot, a little bit like last year. But still, I think, if the bats come alive and the pitching does what it's supposed to, they have everything in place to make it to the playoffs. Again, I don't think they can win it all because there's other teams, but I think, within the coming years, they could sort of make that next step and make a further step towards winning the championship. All right, the final question. Man, this one's gone a lot longer than all my other interviews have gone, obviously, with two people, and we've had a lot more to say. So, all right, time for the most important question, the focal point of all, the reason we are here today. Why should new NPB fans support our team? It's time for you, Steve, to make the pitch for the Marines.
My pitch is really simple. Lotte historically has not been the strongest team in the Pacific League. As we've been saying, a lot of teams have a lot of stronger rotations and stronger offenses than Lotte does. We may not win it all this year, but one thing I can guarantee, if you're a Lotte fan, is you will enjoy yourself. There's a lot of enjoyable players to watch, a lot of guys with strong futures, and Lotte fans are literally the best, the strongest, loudest, most aggressive cheering fan base in Japan. If you can watch on TV, if you can watch the games in the stadium there, you will be impressed, especially now that cheering is back. We're just going to have a fun time, no matter what happens, win or lose. So if you're a Lotte fan, you could get to be a part of that.
All right. I think that sounds awesome. And for you, Mike, it's time for you to make the pitch.
If you're trying to get into NPB or just, Japanese baseball in general, I think Lotte is a good team to pick because you're not, picking a front runner. You're not really ring chasing. You get to watch a team actually build and try and compete. And you also get to hang out with some of the best fans I've seen. Like every Lotte fan I've met has been nice. I've been to the stadiums. Like I've only been to a few games, but every time I've been there, it's been nice. I was at a spring training game the other day and the fans are at the outfield, like cheering sections, full and they're jumping up and down and cheering. And it's a spring training game. You're not going to get that, anywhere, back in the US. And then you also get a really fun history to just go back and read, like, the history of Choji Murata, Hiromitsu Ochai, and just, OBs like that. It's a really just cool history to read about. And I think they have the best throwback uniforms in the entire league, if I can say that.
Yeah, they are slick.
I had some reservations about that all black uniform from a couple years ago.
Nah, I like that too. I'm into like all their alternates. I feel like the Marines are like the most stylish team. 1A, 1B as far as style goes with the Fighters, because the Fighters go really hard as far as trying to be like aesthetically pleasing, as it were. The Marines are definitely one of the younger, more interesting sort of underdog teams in the league right now, and if you want to get in on the ground floor, we are here to accept as many people as possible.
As usual, I'd like to thank today's guests, Steve Novosel and Michael Bilyj, and would like to issue a very special thanks to you, the viewers, who made it through today's video. Be sure to check out our other content on PLTV, and as always in YouTube land, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.